Horizon Ventures Africa is a new fund that's being launched here in South Africa. Horizon Ventures is an existing fund out of Singapore, but we're raising a $10 million fund specifically focused on sub-Saharan Africa. So we're participating in the conference, the YouStart conference, looking for great opportunities, and also supporting one of the portfolio companies that we're investing in called Over. And they'll be pitching tomorrow in the competition as one of the 15 companies. We'll be sitting in the audience, obviously rooting for one, but also looking for other great opportunities.
Okay. And the innovation market in Southern Africa, is it strong?
We're actually very excited. Since we've been here for about the last year, but really aggressively over the last 6 months looking at potential portfolio investment opportunities, and have been very pleasantly surprised at the companies or the opportunities that we've identified. Both homegrown companies here in South Africa, as well as companies that are starting to relocate here from overseas, where people are just finding very clever Africa-oriented solutions to Africa problems, but also starting to launch companies here that have Pan-Africa and global potential. So there's 3 or 4 that we're actively investigating right now, and we expect to make a couple of investments within the first half of 2014.
Okay. Going beyond the value of any particular innovation itself, what is it that you look for?
So there's several things we're looking for. I mean, we are very interested in disruptive technologies, and that's a buzzword that can be overused. But in Africa, it's very particular in the sense that we're looking for technologies that are leapfrogging where the existing infrastructure may be a limitation, where there's opportunities that are solving problems that are not, or solving sectors that traditionally may not be particularly sexy. So we, for example, we're looking at feature phones and very low power smartphones as a massive market where people, there's hundreds of millions of consumers here in the continent of Africa where their first introduction to the internet is typically on a feature phone or a very low-powered smartphone. And the vast majority of the apps and services and technologies that are available are not oriented towards that sector. So we believe that there's a huge untapped market and it's only going to grow.
Okay. And there's the Over project that you've got here. Can you describe any of the other projects that you've been involved in?
Sure. So there's a company that provides information for metro transit. So interestingly enough, they're not focused only on the trains, but also on a lot of the informal taxis. But they allow for one to plot their course, a traveler, a commuter, to plot their course using a myriad of transportation mechanisms. So we're particularly interested in that as a solution. We're also looking at a company that's making, they've got a fleet card solution for drivers, companies that have large fleets of drivers, allowing for payment solutions. There's mobile payments, of course, which is in everybody's inventory. So we're really looking across the spectrum. Oh, and there's also there's a ticketing solution that we believe has a tremendous amount of potential. So in some cases, it's companies that are replicating existing successful business models in more established markets like the US and Europe. And in other cases, it's literally solving problems that just don't exist overseas or have a very small friction overseas. So
it is local solutions for local challenges.
We look at local solutions for local challenges, but our definition of local is the continent of Africa. So we're looking for Africa solutions for Africa problems. But in many cases, those solutions have global potential. So one company that we're not actively looking to invest in at the moment, but that we were particularly interested in earlier, just as an example of this, was basically a job market solution for informal workers and day laborers. And they allowed individuals who had manual skill sets, so gardeners, domestic help, etc., to upload more or less their CV effectively using feature phones, and then that became searchable for households that were looking to hire and employers that were looking to hire But one of the great innovations was that you could see those, you could see who they'd worked for, you could see referrals, you could see language skills, you could see a whole set of characteristics that would allow you to make a better decision. Interestingly enough, although that seems to be a fairly localized market, the founders of that company, they had planned to go to the US, where they had identified that there was a market of potentially 30 million illegal or migrant workers or immigrant workers or just domestic, fully papered but domestic workforce, all that have feature phones, many of whom don't have bank accounts, many of whom are looking for day labor, and I can guarantee you that there's no one sitting in Silicon Valley that's trying to solve that problem.